welcome to Vlogmas. Come on in. When the wind was blowing so hard yesterday, it made the snow drift, and it looks a lot like sand dunes today. It's so pretty. All right, I'm on my way to feed the birds. They've emptied out the bird feeder again. It's a hungry time of year for the feathered friends. Good morning. Welcome to day 13 of Vlogmas. My name is Julie and I live in the northeastern part of the United States with my husband and our rescue dog, Jim. You're very welcome here. If you're a new viewer, we're happy to have you. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. So let's get started this morning with opening my Advent. So let's look first at what I put in yesterday. So this was the Knit Picks Heather Garnet. So you can see it has all these tweedy bits in it. Here's the Christmas narwhal. Whoops, turn him around. Hello. So it looks great against the West Yorkshire Spinners Silent Night. And let's see how we are doing thus far. It's looking pretty good. I really am having such fun knitting this, mostly because it's so mindless. Just sitting and knitting. I don't have to count rows or do anything crazy. So that's where we are currently. So let's find day 12. Oh, nope, day 13. Day 13, right here. And see what color I get to add in today. All right, here we go. Oh, that's fun. This is a crazy Zauber ball leftover, and the color was called Piano Bar. And somewhere buried amongst this little nugget, there should be some purple when I knit it. So again, we've got kind of like Silent Night, we've got something with a little pattern next. So that'll be a lot of fun to knit. So that will go in next. And I did have a question asking for a little more detail about my yarn Advent and how I put it together from one of the viewers of this channel. So I thought I would talk a little bit about that right now. So what I did was I looked at some patterns on Ravelry first, just to see what was out there in terms of advent knitting possibilities. And most of what I was seeing was fingering weight yarns. So even though this was way back in January and I had no idea what I wanted to make for sure, it seemed like the majority of choices were in fingering weight. So what I did was I went through my yarn leftovers, just pulling out all the fingering weight scraps, and they certainly weren't wound into neat little balls or anything like that. So I pulled them all out, picked out colors that I thought would be fun together, again, not knowing for sure what I was going to make. And then I wound them up by hand into little balls like this. And as I was going, I was weighing the yarn. So I do have a tiny little scale that I got on Amazon. Oops. And let's see where it pops out. Okay, so if you press the side here, the dial pops out. Let me turn that on. So, and you can switch between ounces and grams. I think this is a jeweler's scale, if I remember correctly. So I had this out and I would wind my minis, and then when I thought I had almost enough, I would set my scale like this. It has a little lid that sits on. And then I would hit the tear button so that it zeroed out to 0. And then I would stick what I had already wound into my tray. And then, you know, this end would still be attached to the hot mess of leftover. And if it wasn't enough, I kept winding until I had 10 grams. And once I had 10 grams of my mini, I just had some red tissue paper that I wrapped the mini up in and just tied it with a little bit of sparkly gold thread, and I had a star cutter, and I just made numbers. So, I mean, you could do whatever you want. I just did little mini yarn balls like this, but you could, you know, put your yarn ball in a pretty little bag, whatever you decide to do. And then I just had a box, a Christmas box that I put everything in and then tucked it away, ready for Christmas. So that's really all I did. It wasn't difficult. It was fairly time consuming, but you know, put on some good music and kind of had fun playing with your stash and picking out some colors that you would like. And again, they don't have to be 10 gram minis. You could do, I know some of the commercial yarn advents come in 20 gram minis, so you could do 20 gram minis. You could do 20 gram minis of DK weight if you wanted, depending, you know, it's really your choice. I don't have very much DK weight yarn, which is why I kind of leaned more towards doing the fingering weight. So I more than likely will do this again next year, and if I do, I will add that to my January vlog of setting everything out and winding up minis. It was a lot of fun to do, and it's a good way to use up your yarn scraps and also save some money. You know, I've said before that the yarn dyers who make the advents do a fabulous job, and they're absolutely gorgeous. It's just not in my budget to spend that kind of money. And I understand why they are expensive. It's because it takes a ton of time to think about the yarn colors and setting up, you know, all the dyeing process for, I have no idea how many advents they make, but it's a lot. It's a time-consuming thing, and it's an art. And I totally understand why they are priced the way they are, because it's a lot of work. So if this helps you just to be able to have a yarn advent of your own, but not spend a lot of money on a commercial yarn advent, if it's not in your budget, then that's great. I hope you try it. Let me know if you are thinking about doing that too. As I said, I will, if I remember, I'll make a note in my calendar to show you that process for my January video. All right, so I am going to get on with my day. I did not get to decorate the tree yesterday. Time ran away with us. We got as far as getting it inside and trimming off some of the height because it was way too tall. It's still pretty tall. And actually, I'm glad we didn't decorate it, because I watered it when we moved it back inside the house, and the tree is just drinking like there's a water shortage about to happen. I've filled up the reservoir twice already in less than 12 hours. So we'll let sweet Olaf settle in a little bit, and then hopefully we'll get to decorate him today, because I would really like to spend an evening with twinkly lights. Have a chimney sweep coming today to sweep the chimney. My husband went off to a tree farm to get some kiln dried firewood and just fill up the back of the truck with that. So hopefully once all those things are taken care of, and now that the chimney's repaired, we can have a nice fire. So that will be lovely, a nice fire to knit beside. But whatever I get up to today, I will take you along with me. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye. We've reached the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. We are thinking about heading off to a little town nearby this evening for something that should be pretty special. If we decide to go, I will film it and put it in tomorrow's vlog, because it should be pretty Christmassy. So until then, I will see you for day 14 tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.